I'm gonna share with you guys a few things that have changed since my kids are now older. For those of you that don't know, I have two daughters. One is almost 11 and my oldest is almost 17. So there have been a lot of things that have changed since they were very, very little. A few of the things that they required from me before are not things that they need from me now. Like physically, it was more demanding for me to be there and be present in some situations because they could eat something they weren't supposed to eat, and I was more physically involved. Now it's not a physical involvement, but more of an emotional one. When they're not feeling well, when they're upset, when they're angry, when they're frustrated, when they're having a good day, when they're having a bad day, when they're just emotionally sometimes all over the place. It requires my hands-on on a more emotional level and not so much as a physical involvement. And so there's a lot of things that they do now that they didn't do before when they were little. I miss those days sometimes where they were inside everything and they were like trying to eat certain things, or where they were trying to show me certain things, or where they're trying to learn how to draw, or the first steps they were taking. There was so much physical involvement in some of these particular situations that for me isn't like that anymore. Not to say that that I'm not involved in things like school projects, or if they're doing a talent show, or if they want to do a certain thing, like I still involve myself in those ways, but it's just not as much anymore. Like there are things that they can do themselves that they weren't able to do before. When you're like wiping bums and you're tying shoes and you're helping left and right, or when you're getting them dressed, all of these things I'm not too involved in because it doesn't require my attention anymore. And so although there are days where I do miss that part of them and their development, there's a lot that I have gained that I now have because my kids are older. So one of the things that I have gained back since my kids are now older is self-care. So I decided at the beginning of this year that I was going to start doing my makeup again, because before, when they were younger, it just took too much time out of things that I could have been doing. I could be focusing on these other things, and so I lost track of focusing on myself. And so I just felt like I was always go, 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 and I didn't have the time to make sure that I felt comfortable with the way that I looked. And now as my kids are older, I have the time now where I'm able to curl my hair, I'm able to crimp my hair, I'm able to straighten my hair, I'm able to do my makeup, I'm able to spend time on my skincare, I'm able to focus the attention on myself, which is not something I had the opportunity to do as they were little. That is probably one of my biggest things, and one of the things that I enjoy the most now. Throughout the day when my kids are done with whatever they need to get done, or I will make time to get up a little earlier so that I'm able to enjoy the moment of getting myself ready for the day, because that makes me feel good. And I feel like that's just one of those things that as a parent or as a mom, sometimes you lose that because you're so focused on everybody else that sometimes you don't make or give yourself that extra attention. So for me, this is one of the things that I have gained back. Happy to have some of this time to be able to dedicate to myself and love myself and just put into making myself feel good. Another thing that I have gained back is friendships. Although a lot of the women that I'm friends with now, they have their own kids, and a lot of us met through the gym, so we've all kind of stayed connected in one way or another. But because my kids are older now, I'm able to make time to do things with them, which before, if we get together, it'd be with our kids. And sometimes, whether you like it or not, it's not always that enjoyable, because there are moments when your kids are in a tantrum, when they're needing your attention, and you can't focus all of your attention on just sitting there and hanging out. You're having to still keep eyes on everybody, and that for a parent can be difficult because anything can happen in like 1 second. So now that my kids are older, I'm able to put that time into doing things like going out with friends. I have gone to lunches, I have gone to breakfast, I have gone to dinners, I have gone dancing, there are so many things that I'm doing now. I'm going to go to the spa within the next few weeks with my friend because I have that opportunity to do so. And although I have one child that is homeschooling, to be right on top of her because she's older now. So she knows what she needs to get done. Like I don't need to sit right there with her and watch her do it. And opposed to like even my 10, 11-year-old on those days, I still have to sit there and I still have to do certain things because she's still in that age where she requires a little bit more from me, but just not as much as she did when she was little. Another thing that has also changed now that my kids are older is the quality time that I spend with my husband. I feel like before we weren't able to make time for one another, and now that my kids are older, I feel like that's all we do now is we have that time to reconnect, whether it be at night or whether we're taking a date day, or taking a date night, or doing little things here and there, or just getting together and having lunch or breakfast. I feel like a lot of that was pushed off to the side for a little bit because our kids were so little, and during that time, our kids just required too much attention, too much of both of us, right? So I feel like that's something that we're gaining back, is a little bit more time to be able to spend with each other and find things that we can connect on and do together. So for me and for him, it's been really nice to be able to do things with one another. There are days when we'll go out to lunch together. There are days when we're planning a spa thing this week that we want to do. There's just been so many things that we've missed out on because we've been so focused on raising our children, that we are now gaining back. So these are just some things that have changed in my family since my kids have gotten older. But I'm actually really curious to see if there's anything that has changed in your family since your kids have gotten older.